And look at these protected bike lanes. No cars running you off the road over here.
We're riding to celebrate the reclaiming of our public rights of way for everyone, that it's not only a car-centric street, but pedestrians, people who take the bus, bicyclists, that everyone has a right to be in their space on the street.
This is part of a growing trend around the country of redesigning streets to balance the needs of cars, bicyclists, pedestrians, and other modes of transportation. Woo!
We know that to meet our incredibly ambitious goals, whether it's around safety or climate or sustainability, it won't be enough for all the cars to be electric. It won't be enough for all the cars to be shared, although we need to do all those things too. We have to drive less. And in order to drive less, we have to give people real choices.
This project is not only giving Angelenos more of those transportation choices, the project's designers have also partnered with 12 development projects along this corridor to create a new live-work transportation hub, and many of the units here will be affordable.
The businesses that have been transformed by the work that we have done, the residential folks that will be able to have better opportunities to walk and bike and get around their community, is what we're celebrating with this change to Figueroa Corridor.
Plus it's fun.
It's really seriously fun.
It really is fun, yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if we promote tailgate parties here for bicycles so we could come see the Rams and USC play?
New kinds of tailgate parties, more vibrant businesses, greener and funner ways to get around. It appears MyFig is already changing life on this street.
The project was funded by a $20 million grant from Prop 1C, which helps improve infrastructure in urban areas. State lawmakers are pushing to make ethnic studies a mandatory high school course. But this effort began about a half a century ago with the first Chicano Studies college course in the nation.
Chicano Studies as a college course has its 50th anniversary, where the lessons first began on the campus of Cal State LA. But labor leader Dolores Huerta says lessons about the farm labor movement and racial inequality should be taught even before college.
We have to start with pre-K because racism starts down there at the kindergarten level. You know, we have to start teaching the true history of the United States of America.
Chicano Studies is now a hallmark at colleges across the nation, but here, Cal State Los Angeles had the very first. Today, students and faculty gathered at this auditorium to celebrate the anniversary of a revolution.
White justice doesn't work for me. White justice is a travesty.
Cal State LA alumnus and pioneering punk rocker Alice Bagg, also here to honor the course, which was inspired by Chicano students demanding equality. Cal State LA says enrollment in Chicano Studies as a major has skyrocketed, mainly because of President Trump's crackdown on undocumented immigrants.
Helping students understand that our immigration policies are very different for folks from Haiti or Mexico than they are from folks from Canada, England, Switzerland.
There's a part of history in the United States that hasn't been told.
Councilman Jose Huizar honors Huerta by planning to name a section of Boyle Heights Dolores Huerta Square. He also supports ethnic studies early at LA Unified Schools.
In LUSD, we are over 70% Latino. And you ask yourself, are those kids, are those young minds learning about their own history?
So they can make positive changes in the future.
Last year, Oregon became the first state to require ethnic studies in the curriculum for K-12 students. Over in Chinatown, a decades-old family business is celebrating its 80th birthday. Ana Marcos takes us to Phoenix Bakery, an important cultural stop for generations of Angelenos.
What does it take to keep an entire community coming back for your sweets generation after generation?
My wife's mother came here for 45 years, taking cakes in a bus all the way to the kids, grandkids.
Well, for one thing, it takes a lot of cracked eggs, bowls of strawberries, and giant dollops of cream. We're talking real pure whipped cream. And for the Chans, who have owned the family-run Phoenix Bakery in Chinatown since 1938, It also takes several generations of hard work.
This is an incredible legacy. This is something that my father and my uncle started and worked their fingers to the bone, you know, in the very early days. There was so much discrimination.
The rewards is actually the people coming back. And you hear the people saying like, oh, my father brought me here, or my mother brought me here, and now I'm bringing my son here.
The Chans and their bakery have become a community institution, and they are celebrating their 80th birthday in style, with lion dances for good luck, and of course, a piece of one of their famous cakes for anyone who stops by.
I think they come because it was one of the first successful Chinese-owned enterprises in Chinatown.
On a busy weekend, the bakery goes through hundreds of these strawberry whipped cream cakes, which is one of their specialties, and they say you have to taste it to know why they just fly off the shelves. Oh my God, so light and fresh.
We haven't changed our product over the whole 80 years. It's the same cake that my uncle started in the early 40s.
It's a cornucopia of Chinese and American-inspired desserts. Among the favorites, the winter melons, the almond cookies and butterfly twists, and yes, that strawberry whipped cream cake as well.
He just came yesterday to buy my birthday cake for my 70th birthday.
Phoenix Bakery, by the way, has ties to the Walt Disney character Bambi.
If you look at their sign and you see the little Chinese boy that's kind of head down, cute, he was the one that designed that.
Tyrus Wong.
Tyrus Wong.
Who made Bambi.
Yes, he did.
As the second generation of Chans runs the place, the third generation is getting busy on social media and the web.
We do some shoots and help kind of keep things going and keep the younger generation interested and find ways to really engage the new customers and the new clients. There is a very new demographic that's coming to Chinatown.
Our neighborhood continuity and future sustainability depend on families like the Chans.
Who knows, by the time its 100th birthday rolls around, a fourth generation of Chans just might be taking over the Phoenix Bakery.
Want to get a slice of their famous strawberry whipped cream cake? Well, visit their website at phoenixbakeryinc.com. Heading over to North Hollywood, where art is bringing this vibrant community together. Rasha Goel takes us to the first NoHo block party.
It's all about the arts and promoting what's hidden in the NoHo Arts District. What a better way to do it than a block party.
There's art, food, drinks, free theater. It's an incredible way for the community to come together.
With 22 live theaters, 30 music recording studios, restaurants, bars, and much more, it's the hub of the arts.
People move here because they love the arts. You know, theatre, dance, music, and visual arts. That's why they moved to NoHo, because there's so much going on here. There are so many people that work here and live here who are in the arts.
It was an entire day full of things to do for all ages.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It's a sound bowl type of thing, so you hear the vibrations when you put your head in it.
Whether you were a spectator or a participant, it was an opportunity to engage in some type of art form. Here, people are dipping their hands in paint with a group called Muralism.
We're an organization that is bringing together special needs artists and local muralists to paint paint-by-number murals all over town, so the community gets to paint them.
And there was a dance battle. A perfect excuse to bring the community together while celebrating the arts.
And organizers hope to make this a regular event in NoHo. Well, it's a chance to see the local artists, musicians, and vendors that will be on full display at 2018's El Grito celebrations. And we got a special VIP look at what's in store for the event.
This was just a sneak peek of all the sights, sounds, tastes, and flavors to come as the El Grito VIP preview kicked off. This year, the El Grito ceremony that marks Mexico's cry for independence promises to be more steeped in Mexican tradition than ever.
El Grito for me is the reminder that our community has come a really long way.
Councilmember Monica Rodriguez promises a Molcajete Dominguero this year, a Mexican marketplace, and it will have dozens of vendors. Many of them were on hand to show us what's in store. Homemade tequila? Yup, there's that too.
Some of the recipes for our brand are recipes that my mom made, and we just introduced them with my tequila, and people are loving it.
Weird girl streetwear just for the woman of color. Gentle Riot's got that covered.
It's all about creating space for women of color in fashion and really celebrating our experiences and creating a fun, whimsical brand.
Mariachis and music also on tap, but wait, there's the food. Did you know about vegan ceviche? Well, you should.
It's just a plant-based heart of palm ceviche, topped with a little bit of black sesame seeds.
And apparently, cotton candy is also playing an important role. Cotton candy with a Mexican twist, that is. Mango, tamarindo, or how about the spicy Cheeto elote, or something like that? Basically, spicy corn. You get the idea. South of the border flavors with a little spicy Cheeto dust on top. Meanwhile, this East LA Artist Collective is creating a 50-foot art installation of El Grito, and there will be souvenir El Grito t-shirts too.
We wanted to make it big, bright, in your face. We want to make it definitely rememberable, Instagrammable. You know, like we definitely want people to like stand in front of it, take photos of it.
But for Councilmember Rodriguez, there will be something more behind all the fun when she gets to ring the bell for El Grito.
I'm ringing the bell for everybody who doesn't have the privilege and the benefits of what I've had through the sacrifices of my family that have come to this country that enabled me to be the third Latina on the Los Angeles City Council.
A reminder that besides the fun, El Grito is also a symbol of the human will to stand up for freedom and independence.
The headliners for Indigenous Peoples Day are announced. The city will soon see a canopy of new trees thanks to a sizable grant, and LA and Paris team up to work on issues impacting both cities. All these stories in City B. Los Angeles City Council member Mitch O'Farrell and organizers of the first ever Indigenous Peoples Day celebration announced the lineup of musical performances for the event, as well as the artists involved in a live art demonstration. The historic Indigenous Peoples Day celebration will take place on Monday, October 8th from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at City Hall and Graham Park public spaces. Activities will include a sunrise ceremony, a 5K fun run walk, Parade of Nations, Native American powwow, panel sessions, and a grand finale that will include a performance by critically acclaimed Native American rock group Redbone.
It really is a celebration. It's important. It will definitely be a solemn event as well, but more than anything else, a celebration.
Mayor Eric Garcetti brought climate and industry leaders together for a forum on clean transportation, which he hosted alongside Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo. The group discussed innovative ways for cities around the world to make their transportation systems more sustainable, a critical goal for Paris and Los Angeles as they prepare to host the Olympic and Paralympic Games in 2024 and 2028. Garcetti discussed the LA Clean Tech Incubator's 2028 Zero Emissions Roadmap, a new blueprint to help cities accelerate progress on their emissions reduction goals.
Our work is urgent, and we have to reduce the amount of carbon that we're putting into the atmosphere that is causing this Earth to heat up.
LA Sanitation was awarded a $1,500,000 grant for the Shade LA project from California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection to plant 2,700 trees in disadvantaged communities throughout LA. Mayor Eric Garcetti said trees bring new life to our communities, helping them grow into healthier, cooler, more beautiful places to live, work, and play. This project will create 900 new tree wells along boulevards that currently have limited urban canopy and plant a total of 2,700 trees. LA prides itself as a capital of diversity with its many cultures, ethnicities, and languages. And thanks to Grant Performances, a local music concert series, audiences are getting a look at international artists. Meet Sogand.
Like your hip-hop with a little Middle Eastern kick? Well, this is the place to get it. Grant Performances, which puts on free summer music concerts in downtown LA's California Plaza, is capping off the summer with 2 Iranian musical artists, a DJ and producer named Omid.
making beats. He's one of the early Los Angeles beat makers.
And then there's the headliner, the artist Sogan, who's won quite a following in Iran and Germany with her sultry voice and hip-hop roots.
I think that Sogan is the epitome of the 21st century woman. She's a young artist that's really beginning to explore her own voice, and I think she's innovative.
This is Sogan's first U.S. debut, and already she's won the American fans over.
I love her. I discovered her, I think, about 4 years ago, and I love her music. I don't know exactly what the style is, but I would say kind of a jazzy type.
Los Angeles, I love Los Angeles. It's Tehran jealous. Many of Iranian people are there, and I like it.
Part of the work that we do is bringing artists and art forms that represent the many different communities that make up the city of Los Angeles.
We inspire community, we celebrate diversity, and we unite Los Angeles through free access to global performing arts.
Oh yeah, there's that too. These concerts are always free.
We believe that art should be not a ticketed, value-driven experience that is expensive. We think that art should be something that everybody is able to consume and enjoy.
Because who can put a price tag on dancing yourself into bliss with a little hip-hop belly dancing?
For more info, visit grandperformances.org. Check out the work of local talent during the Frogtown Art Walk. Tie up your running shoes for a good cause and go back in time with your favorite video games. Pac-Man, anyone? All this in this week's Things to Do. Get ready for the annual Frogtown Art Walk in Elysian Valley, featuring dozens of special exhibits from local artists and craft makers along the LA River. The Frogtown Art Walk is a biennial free tour of the studios of the artists and artisans of Elysian Valley. Run by Elysian Valley Arts Collective, the Art Walk will have 2 official stages featuring a variety of bands and lots of food trucks. It all takes place on Saturday, September 22nd from 4 to 10 p.m. For more, visit frogtownarts.com. Join thousands of people coming together to support Homeboy Industries at the 10th annual Homeboy 5K. You can expect a morning filled with fun, music, and laughter as they embark on a 5K run-walk throughout historic downtown Los Angeles. Both the 5K and Kids 1K run will start and finish in front of Homeboy Industries' iconic Chinatown headquarters. Every registration helps better the community, so sign up and make sure to get your family, friends, neighbors, and coworkers to join in on the fun. The 5K Run Walk takes place Saturday, September 22nd. For more, visit homeboy5k.rallybound.com. This 2-day free play event will transport guests back in time for the ultimate arcade rewind. Union Station's Retrocade experience will feature over 40 cabinet games from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Held in the historic ticket concourse, the Retrocade experience will allow visitors to enjoy an eclectic collection of classic arcade games and specialty pinball cabinets, including fan favorites Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and Street Fighter. From 5 to 7 p.m. each day, guests can enter a Pac-Man tournament and compete for top honors and a Pac-Man trophy. It all takes place Saturday, September 22nd from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Sunday, September 23rd. For more, visit unionstationla.com. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane from all of us here at LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org and check out our newest social media videos, LA This Minute. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today.
Hola, soy Marisol, desde Canoga Park, la ciudad toda americana. Estás viendo LA City View, Canal 35, nuestra ciudad, nuestro canal.
Good morning, good morning. Shh. We could get everybody to please take their seat. Today is Tuesday, September 18th. I want to welcome you to City Hall, welcome you to the LA City Council chambers. We have a quorum. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Harris, Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Wesson, 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Okay, Koretz moves, Weezer seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Bonin moves and Blumenfield seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, today is Tuesday and time for the flag salute.
Okay, let's all rise. We'll be led today by Mr. Bonin and our flag salute.
Thank you, Mr. President. If everybody could place their hands over their heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Bonin. Okay, let's continue through the agenda.
Mr. President, there are requests to continue item number 2 to Friday, September 21st, and item number 50 to September 25th.
Okay, continue.
Items 1 through 9 are items noticed for a public hearing. Mr. President, there are cards on 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, sir.
Okay, let's vote on what's remaining then.
Mr. President, there's nothing remaining.
Okay.
Items-
Let's move to the next section.
Items 10 through 35 are items which public hearings have been held. There is a request to hold items number 23 and 24 for amendments, and also the committee report for item 34 has been posted and circulated for council's consideration, sir.
Okay, let's hold 34 up. And Mr. Blumenfield?
Special.
30. We'll be holding 34 and 35. Let's prepare to vote on the remaining items. Please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Continue, Madam Clerk.
Items 36 through 51 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration, sir.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Do you have cards?
Mr. President, there are requests to hold item 43 on the desk, and there are cards on everything else, sir.
Okay, then continue.
And that brings council to presentations, items called special or general public comment, sir.
Mr. Bonin.
Hold item 47 on the desk for a substitute motion.
Let's do that as well. Okay, let's move into the presentation portion. I'd like to recognize Ms. Rodriguez.
Thank you, colleagues. That was Mariachi Manchester. Thank you guys so much for being here. So, colleagues, it gives me great pleasure to be here with you all this morning in celebration and part of an annual tradition here at City Hall for us to celebrate Latino Heritage Month. And, Mariachi Manchester is a twist on classic. My grandfather was a professional mariachi when he came from Juarez, Chihuahua. And for me, this was a very great integration of both the tradition that I grew up loving with mariachi music and my affinity for the Smiths and Morrissey. So it was a really great way for me to put my own twist on Latino Heritage Month kickoff this morning with you all. And I'm proud to be joined this morning by our incredible mayor, Eric Garcetti, Councilwoman.
All right. Okay, let us do the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilwoman Nuri Martinez, Councilmember Jose Huizar, Councilmember Gil Cedillo, as we are here to celebrate the contributions of Latinos in this city and also recognize the indelible mark that certain individuals that we are going to be honoring here shortly have made to the cultural environment that is celebrated as who we are as Los Angeles. And so on Saturday, I want to thank many of you for being a part of what was a historic and incredible event in the celebration of El Grito. On Saturday, we had thousands of individuals come out, folks lined up all the way into Grant Park and beyond, just overflowing in celebration of Mexican independence. And it is incredibly important that and imperative in these very difficult political times that we continue to unite as a community and celebrate our heritage with great pride for all of the contributions that we make here in Los Angeles. And so I'd like to give you guys, for those of you that weren't able to make it, I'd like to cue the video to give you a sample of what we had at El Grito on Saturday. I was
All right, so come on, let's just
okay.
if we could please keep it down.
Okay.
One minute. We are Mr. City Attorney, we are being disrupted.
We are indeed.
As
it
individuals
appears that
are
the people who are
exiting
shining are leaving slowly. Okay.
All right, you know what? One more round of applause for Mexican Independence Day. To all of the people who've come to council chambers today, to our great mayor, my great colleagues, Ms. Rodriguez, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. And again, I was I'm incredibly proud to be the madrina for El Grito this year and serve as the chair of Latino Heritage Month, because again, it is incredibly important during these incredible political times that we continue to unite as a community. But I want to say I would be absolutely remiss if I did not thank the incredible team that was responsible of pulling together what was undoubtedly the largest El Grito celebration this city has ever seen. And I want to thank my team. I want to thank Paula Basiñana, where's Felicia? I don't know where Felicia is. Felicia Orozco, Tran Lay. These are not names that are typically associated with pulling off the largest Mexican-American celebration in the city of Los Angeles, but they were absolutely instrumental in making sure that we produced the most spectacular event that this city has ever seen. And I want to thank my incredible team for helping to pull that off this weekend, because it was phenomenal. So we are today going to be celebrating the contributions of individuals like Mr. Jaime Jarrín, the voice of the LA Dodgers for so many Latinos in Los Angeles. Bill Esparza, who continues to uplift and celebrate and put Mexican cuisine and Latino food on the map here in Los Angeles. Thank you, Bill, for joining us this morning. Molcajete Dominguero, which is a collective of multiple artisans that are featured in celebration of Latino culture here in Los Angeles, and were part of the installation that we did in Grand Park that was responsible for drawing so many more individuals to come out to El Grito. Thank you, Molcajete Dominguero, for being here with us this morning as well. And last but certainly not least, an organization that has been responsible for keeping Latino art at the forefront of this city's history, Self-Help Graphics, who are celebrating an incredible milestone this year. So at this time, I would like you all to join me in welcoming our incredible mayor of the city of Los Angeles, Mayor Eric Garcetti.
Thank you very much. And thank you, mil gracias a nuestra madrina. Thank you so much for the godmother of Latino Heritage Month this year, who's done a great job with her team. Thank you to the fellow members of the Latino Caucus that are here, to everybody who around this horseshoe. You know, Latino has always been an all-embracing category in this city since the pobladores came here and traced their ancestry back to Africa, to Asia, to the Americas, and to Europe. All Spaniards, but all with the same diversity you see on this council and in this room. I'm proud to be the second mayor of Latino Heritage in the last 100 years, but in a city where the contributions of Latinos and the celebration is not confined to a month, it is a part of our daily existence here in Los Angeles. When I think about those stories and when I think about who we are celebrating, who are making new stories as well here today, Bill Esparza, who has not only been an expert on Mexican food, on pocho cuisine, on all the different regions, but has really been kind of almost up there like Jonathan Gold had, a postcard of love about what makes this city so tasty through its cuisine and through its culture. You know, Betty Avila and Self-Help Graphics was a place I used to go as a teenager around the neighborhood where my grandparents had grown up, and I used to collect art. I started collecting art through some of the prints that were there at Self-Help Graphics, the Dia de los Muertos celebration, which was the best on the East Side, and really learned so much about my culture through this institution that continues doing that, even as there's changes in this city, hangs on to that culture which has defined the city and certainly the east side of this city as well. To Luis Aguilar and to the Molcajete Dominguero market, this is something where people come from around the world to experience Mexican and Mexican-American and Latino culture. Remember, it's not just Mexican-American culture that is here in Los Angeles. We have the most Peruvians outside of Peru, the most Salvadorians outside of El Salvador, the most Hondureños outside of Honduras, and the list goes on and on throughout Latin America. And of course, Jaime Jarrín, who for so many of us is the voice of the Dodgers. And there's some other guy he worked with for a long time we've honored in here who also got kind of famous. But Jaime, for so many of us, brought us those games, listening with our grandparents and our parents, and continues. And things are looking kind of good. If we can just hang on to the Dodgers to get back there this year, they are on the move. So thank you to everybody for making this a great month. I would really encourage folks, go out and see a piece of Latino LA you've not seen before. Go on Vine Street to the Peruvian restaurants and to the great culture that I know Councilmember O'Farrell has worked on there of the Peruvian community. Go and explore a Chilean restaurant or sit down with the Argentinians in Palms area in Mr. Bonin's district. See some of the new immigrants that are coming even as we speak today. And my final message is, in these times where we hear and see, even in these chambers and everywhere, such incivility in our world, in our politics. We're told that we are divided. This is a moment in which Los Angeles can breathe some hope back into this nation, into this city, of saying we are not. We all own this culture. It is our common heritage. And as we celebrate the contributions of Latinos, all of us have benefited from and given to the Latino culture that we celebrate this month. So muchísimas gracias, felicidades, and let's go celebrate all of our collective heritage. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. And it gives me great pride to be joined today by my colleagues who have also been an incredible support to me as one of the newest members of this Los Angeles City Council. And at this time, I'd like to invite my comadre, Councilwoman Nury Martinez.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Rodriguez, for leading this year's Latino Heritage Month. And I would remiss to say I want to first congratulate you for an amazing El Grito celebration this weekend. I want to give you a big round of applause to you and your fabulous team. There's video of us dancing, and we cut a rug pretty good. I just want to say, and you've heard me say this more than once, I am a very, very proud daughter of immigrant parents. I often talk about my mom and the fact that she was a factory worker for so many years, got laid off, and we organized to make sure her factory didn't move to Mexico. Eventually they did, and they unemployed almost 2,000 people. I talk about my father, who was a dishwasher for almost 30 years, who never drove in his life, never spoke English, but was one of the hardest men I have ever met. My father would wake up at 4 in the morning to catch the bus from Pacoima to Sherman Oaks at 5 in the morning, 6 days out of the week. And so when I talk about immigrants, I talk about my parents, because I would not be here if it wasn't for my mom and dad, some of the hardest working people who have made this country great, who have made Los Angeles great. When we get disrespected and we're called rapists and criminals, that is not who my mom and dad raised me to be. We do not build walls in this city, we build communities in this city. And because of them, I get to stand here and call myself a councilwoman. When I think about the honorees and their contributions to the Latino community to Los Angeles, I often reminisce, and when I saw that you were honoring Jaime Jarrin, Jaime, you would appreciate this. As a little girl, my first language was Spanish. That's all we ever spoke at in my home. But my parents are diehard Dodger fans, especially my mother. And she would turn on the TV and she couldn't understand the play-by-play, even though she understands baseball very well. But we would watch TV and watch the Dodgers and hear Jaime on the radio. And that's what we did at every single Dodger game. And Jaime is like, you're not only the voice of the Dodgers, I think you're kind of the echo in my house when I was growing up, Jaime. Because my mom would be so elated and so excited to hear you that there was somebody that spoke our language to understand America's favorite pastime. So thank you very much, Monica, for being an amazing host this year. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for being here and for the representation of the Latinos on the LA City Council. We need to do our very best to not only be amazing role models for our community, but we also need to ensure that we are respected, and we do that by making sure that Latino voices are heard at the polls. We would not be here if people did not entrust in us and elect us. We need to make sure we send a message in November. Midterm elections are coming up. Latinos need to turn out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nury. And so at this time, I'd also like to join one of my compadres over here from the east side, Mr. Jose Huizar.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Rodriguez. And again, I'd like to join the chorus of congratulating Councilwoman Rodriguez for a successful Grito event. She really put her heart and soul into it, and it showed with a significant turnout. People came and celebrated being proud of being Mexican, and especially in this time and these days when Mexico is facing a new president and people see some hope on the horizon about possibilities. It's great to see that here in Los Angeles, the city with the most Mexicans, second only to Mexico City, there was some renewed pride and honor about being Mexican, and that was great to see. So thank you, Ms. Rodriguez, for what you did this past weekend. And it's great to come together once a year as a council, as a city, to celebrate the contributions of Latinos in Los Angeles and also to the country. But one thing we've got to remember is that this is not something new for Latinos. Since the city was first founded, and our mayor mentioned it when the pobladores first got here, Latinos have had a bicultural, binational existence with not only Mexico but other Latin American countries, where people who come live here go back home, and there's a lot of interchange of culture, of language. And what's great to see now in Los Angeles is that, unlike before, where people from throughout the world would come to LA and hide their culture and not really want to say where they're from, we're seeing a new wave of existence where people are proud of where they come from, and Los Angeles is setting the environment for that to happen. And through these celebrations of Latino Heritage Month, through African American Heritage Month, Native American Month, and all these great celebrations, we're showing the world that as one of the most diverse cities in the world, that you can come to LA, live here or visit, and people are proud of who they are and where they come from. And that's a great thing to see. And this year's honorees are doing that in their own special way. And it's been mentioned about Jaime Jarin, who is a living legend in our midst. And like the previous speaker said, I too grew up listening to Jaime Jarin. And at Dodger games, when perhaps you couldn't hear too much Spanish at the stadium, and you couldn't hear the cucaracha playing when one of the Dodger players were coming up to bat. When really Latinos probably were underneath everything happening in Dodger Stadium, Jaime Jarin brought that to the forefront. And he says, you don't have to listen in your small AM radios to the ear when you're in the stadium. Come out, speak Spanish, and you hear a whole lot more Spanish in the stadium now. We celebrate Latinoes every single Dodger game because of Jaime Jarin. Muchísimas gracias, amigo. And Bill Esparza, one of the greatest things we know about Latinos is that we love our food. And one of the greatest things about America is now that it's embracing Mexican and Latino food throughout the country. And so it's people like Bill Esparza who write about it and show that his experiences with his childhood love of his Mexican grandmother's table is now being talked about because of him exposing it to people who normally wouldn't want to experience it. So thank you so much, Bill, for your work as well. And to Molcajete Dominguero, focused right here in Council District 14 at Plaza de Cultura y Artes. You continue to bring a mix of Latino cultures together and something very unique to what Los Angeles is when all these cultures mix together. So muchísimas gracias for your work as well. And as the mayor said, there's not enough that can be said about self-help graphics. At a time when people were trying to acknowledge Chicano, Mexican, Latino art, self-help graphics was there doing its work. And the reason it got so renowned and so well known was because of self-help graphics. And we as a city should be very proud because we helped them establish their latest home here in Boyle Heights after not having a home and being kicked out of their place in East LA. We supported them with funds and found them a location on First and Mission. And so we recognize the important work you're doing, and we are very happy as a city to help you do that. So congratulations to you as well. And finally, as a Mexican immigrant, I'm very proud to not only of my heritage and what this country has offered me, but also I look back at people like my father, who was a bracero, who toiled in the fields throughout the southwest U.S. I look at my grandfather, who helped build this building when it was first constructed in the 1920s. And I look at the hard-working people of Latino descent who have made this city, who have contributed to this country. And let's remind our president that we are here to be proud of our culture and heritage, but we are equally proud to be American. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Jose. And of course, last but certainly not least, my colleague from the 1st District, Councilmember Gil Cedillo.
Oh, yeah, Dodgers. Los Dodgers. Mr. President, first of all, let's thank Monica for an incredible display of leadership, a commitment that we haven't seen, a demonstration of the breadth and depth of our community. We are here in times of tumult. These are embattled times for our community. Never has a community been so vilified by a president. From the beginning, the inception, the very first words of his campaign were an attack on our community. And so I thank you for your friendship and your leadership. I thank our mayor. I thank Monica, because every day, as we've heard, there are hardworking men and women who are the foundation of this city, this state, and this nation. And they toil for the American dream, for a better life, not for themselves, but for their children and for their future. And they are here today to do what all Americans do, to work hard, to be patriotic, to support this nation. And they deserve more than they get from the White House. Let me say that the presence of the honorees is a demonstration of a community that will not be vilified, that will not return to some homeland that they've never been to, that will not be deported. We find this appalling and unacceptable. Let me say to you that we have a new grito, a new clarion call. It is abolish ICE. It is unite our families and end the deportations. This is not the first time that we have been attacked. It's not the first time we've been vilified. This is not the first time that people have tried to blame us for the ills of the economy and for the actions of others. But this is a time in which we are united. Monica has said very clearly, unity is our theme, resistance is our strategy, we will prevail, and we will win. Viva Mexico, viva Mexico, viva Mexico, viva Latin America, and viva Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month. Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much, Gil. And so the honoree that I know, we have several honorees, but this one is particularly special, and it's been mentioned many, many times. The voice of the Dodgers, Jaime Jarrín. You know, when it was funny, when I used to go to Dodger games as a kid, my grandfather would have his transistor radio listening to Jaime Jarrín. My mom would have hers to Vin Scully. And it was just this wonderful way that my family used to celebrate watching the games together. And it is a voice that is very well known in the Latino community. He is the Spanish voice of the Dodgers and is one of the most recognizable voices in all of Spanish language broadcasting. He is in his 60th season as a Dodger broadcaster. The 2018 season will mark his 4th season calling games with his son Jorge, and the duo forming the only father-son broadcasting team in Major League Baseball Spanish language radio. That's incredible. In '98, he was inducted to the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York, as the recipient of the Ford C. Frick Award, and became the second Spanish language announcer to achieve that honor. This Friday, the Dodgers will be honoring Jaime at the game, and again, it is incredibly, it's an incredible honor to have met you and to have you accept this wonderful recognition. And at this time, I'd like to invite Jaime Jarrín to be honored by this.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, a todos muy buenos días. Let me speak in the Spanish here because in this place it was Spanish spoken before any other language here in this spot. So I am proud to be here. It is really a very exciting moment. And on behalf of my wife Blanca, my sons Jorge and Mauricio, and myself, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for this great recognition. Everybody has been mentioning my association with the Dodgers for 60 years, but before that, I was in that corner almost every day because I used to cover the City Hall for KWKW. I was the news director then, before doing sports. And I remember Edward Roybal mainly. He was the only Spanish-speaking member of the City Council, the first Mexican-American City Council in the history of the United States. So I have very fond memories of Mr. Roybal. Later on, I met him in Washington when he was also the first Mexican-American member of the Congress in Washington. Queridos amigos, me siento profundamente emocionado y a nombre de mi esposa Blanca, mis hijos Jorge y Mauricio, quiero agradecerles infinitamente por la bondad de ustedes en reconocerme y premiarme con esta distinción. A la concejal Rodríguez, muchísimas gracias, muy amable, muy gentil, muy guapa, por cierto. Yo creo que el jacket...
Oh, we match.
Yeah, I am wearing the jacket. So really, I appreciate very much this honor. It is something very close to what I experienced in 1998, 20 years ago, when I was inducted into the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. Me siento muy emocionado porque esto se acerca mucho a aquel momento en que fui exaltado al Salón de la Fama en Cooperstown. I have been with the Dodgers for 60 years. I don't know where the years have gone. It seems to me that it was only a couple of decades ago that I started with the Dodgers, but it was 1959, the second year after the Dodgers moved to Los Angeles. And I have been with them because of three things. First, because I love what I do. I feel blessed to be doing what I really could do 2 games a day, every day, for 7 days a week. I love what I do. Secondly, because of the support of my wife. She has paid a very high price, having me away from home for so many days, and really appreciate every honor that I get should go to Blanca first. And third, I am with the Dodgers, and I have been with them for 60 years for one reason, because I noticed from the first day that they really respect our community. There is no other organization in Major League Baseball that respects the Latino community more than the Dodgers. The first thing that they decided to do was to give to the Mexican fans and to the Latino fans something in their own language. That's what Mr. Walter Amari said after taking a helicopter flight to see the demographics of Southern California. He wanted to give the Spanish-speaking baseball fans something in their own language. And I have been very proud to be the voice of the Dodgers in Spanish. Muchísimas gracias, muy gentiles. No quiero cansarles más. Un abrazo muy fuerte en especialmente el mes de la herencia hispánica aquí en el sur de California. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Jaime. And our next honoree, someone as a foodie. I have a tremendous amount of respect for this individual and the work that he has done in his contributions to put Mexican cuisine and the best of Latino food on the map here in Los Angeles. Bill Esparza is the author of the book L.A. Mexicano, which is on each of your desks. Each of you have a copy of this incredible book. And the blog Street Gourmet LA, and is a contributing writer to LA Magazine. In 2016, Esparza won a James Beard Award for LA Magazine's Taco City issue. Esparza is the go-to authority on Latin American food and culture. He is a native Angelino, a noted saxophone player, and Esparza has traveled and eaten extensively throughout Mexico, Latin America, and of course, Southern California. And we're just delighted that he's here with us today, Bill Esparza.
Thank you, Councilwoman, for this honor, and Mayor and all the other council persons. You know, to echo what others have said here today, is the very first meal I ever had in este pueblo was Mexican food. And so not only was Spanish spoken, but the cuisine. When people come to Los Angeles, besides wanting to see the Dodgers, wanting to see downtown, the new revitalized downtown, which we've all seen happen over the last decade, people want to eat Mexican food. They want to go to Boyle Heights and have tacos. They want to go to East LA. They want to go to South LA. And all these wonderful communities where Mexican food is really the attraction. It's a Mexican city, so almost every neighborhood has great Mexican food, even Hollywood where I live. We have great Oaxacan cuisine. And I love that I live in a city where I can walk to my convenience store and buy tlayudas. Pretty amazing. And, you know, I think what's really important to me, and I think what we talked about in LA Mexicano, is taking back our cuisine. You know, it's been, you go to many bookstores and you don't see Mexican cookbooks written by Mexicans. And so LA Mexicano is really about bringing that back to the community. And one thing I like to say to all the politicians here is that probably the most important thing people want to see in this city is street food. Everyone that hits me up on Twitter wants to come here, and they want to know where the best tacos are. They want to know where the little underground spots. So I'd like to take this moment, this opportunity. Yeah, right. Is to please support our street vendors and use all your powers and your position to help them come into, you know, whatever legal means they need to be. But just know that people like myself, we love, it's not just great food, and it's not just Mexican food, but these are communities. So if you go to, there's a house, I'm not going to say where. There's a house in Los Angeles where all the people from Nayarit go just for white menudo blanco. And there's another place where people from Tepeaca gather to celebrate mole de panza, enchilada, which is a lamb menudo. And so these are gathering spots for the communities, and they would love your support and helping them come into compliance, but also letting these communities thrive, because this is what Los Angeles is about as a Mexican city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. And at this time, you know, we are so fortunate to be able to have all of the collections of cultural contributions of each of our communities reflected here in the city of Los Angeles. And we couldn't do it without the incredible partnership of a dynamic Cultural Affairs Department. And I'd like to invite Danielle Brazel to join me this morning for helping to produce Latino Heritage Month, the book and the collection, which is also featured on each of your desks, and to talk about the art that we are about to unveil today.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman, and thank you to this City Council for doubling down on its Cultural Heritage Month celebrations. This is the way in which we get to demonstrate to the entire world that we are a multi-ethnic global city that celebrates belonging and culture as our key strategies to our economic vitality, to our quality of life, and really to the history of this extraordinary city. And each and every year, the Department of Cultural Affairs puts a considerable amount of effort to produce what we like to call is actually a museum quality catalog that captures this moment in history for our city. So it's both a living document and it's one that we like to put into the archives so that in 100 and 150 years and 200 years, when they look upon us and they say, what was the city of Los Angeles doing at this time in our history? This is what they're going to see. They're going to see an extraordinary, robust catalog of events celebrating the Latino culture in Los Angeles, far and wide. They're going to see extraordinary work by local artisans who are contributing to this work. And this book, the cover today, is created by an extraordinary artist who couldn't be here today. His name is Victor Horgencia. And then the other artists that are here today, I would just like them to stand and be recognized as artists contributing to this work. And I know that there's a few here, so please stand and be recognized. And I want to congratulate Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez for her extraordinary success with El Grito this year and this beautiful celebration. Your team is awesome to work with.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So again, colleagues, before we actually go unveil the artwork, which I think really does a wonderful job of capturing this moment in time of some of the struggles that our community is experiencing, I again want to thank and recognize Molcajete Dominguero, this one-of-a-kind monthly shopping marketplace with over 70 curated local artist vendors that are selling Latinx-inspired clothing, jewelry, paper goods, and more. Founded by Luis Aguilar and Gladys Vasquez, who are here with us this morning, and who were incorporated for the first time as part of El Grito. They did an outstanding job. And also, I invite Self-Help Graphics, which again started in 1973 in East Los Angeles. They fostered the creation and advancement of new works for Chicano artists and Latino artists through experimental and innovative printmaking techniques and other visual art forms. They have been around for 45 years, and we look forward to them being around for another 100 years and beyond for all of their incredible contributions. Their work is currently featured as part of the bridge installation that will be exhibited throughout Latino Heritage Month this month, which runs through October 15th. And so again, I want to invite you all to join me in celebrating and acknowledging these wonderful honorees for their incredible contributions to art, food, the history of Los Angeles, and making us who we are, being proud of who we are. As the daughter of Mexican immigrants, I am incredibly proud to have been hostess for El Grito this year, but more importantly, I am proud to serve a group of individuals which represent the hardest working and the most honorable people this city has ever seen. Thank you so much for your work here today.
Ms. Rodriguez, I have Mr. Koretz. Mr. Koretz.
Not yet.
Let's try again. In these times, I think it's important to say something about our diversity in Los Angeles. In other places in the country, they strive for people to tolerate each other. I think here, we treasure our diversity and we treasure the Latino community. We celebrate our diversity and we celebrate the Latino community. And we love our Latino colleagues. And Monica, thank you for putting this day together. Many of us come from humble backgrounds and are the children of immigrants. My father came from Germany. He had to flee during World War II and the Nazis. He fled to Argentina and learned Spanish while he was there, and came here legally or illegally. It's actually impossible for me to figure that out, but I suspect he came here illegally. He was a waiter for the rest of his life here in Los Angeles. He'd been a professional soccer referee in Germany, but nobody played soccer when he came here. That's changed a little bit. But all of us, I think, have grown up from those humble backgrounds, and I think we can all be proud of it. And there is probably no city in the country where the Latino community has had more of an impact and a positive impact than the city of Los Angeles from the beginning until now. And we have great pride in the Latino community, and we're delighted to recognize that here. And I do want to say also it's an honor to be here with Jaime as a Dodger fan. And my father, when I was a little kid, would listen to Vin Scully sometimes in English and to you sometimes in Spanish. And it's such an honor that you're here today. And please pass on a message to the Dodgers that I have a little bit of a heart condition. And please ask them not to kill me before the end of the season. And ask them to stay in first place for more than a day so we can breathe a little easier. Thank you.
Mr. Price.
Thank you, Monica. Just wanted to salute you and colleagues for an outstanding celebration of Day Latino Heritage Month. As you know, the 9th District is about 80% Latino, half of those individuals from Mexico, the other from the diaspora, and it has certainly indicated the richness of our community. It expands it and makes us more whole. So just continue the celebration. We appreciate the contributions that everyone makes, especially our Latino community, to this, to making our life better and more representative. Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Ms. Rodriguez, well done.
Thank you so
well
much.
Done.
Thank you, Mr.
Let's
President.
give them one more round of applause. Well done.
So we have certificates on behalf of the City of Los Angeles. We want to go ahead and present to Self-Help Graphics. Thank you very much. Molcajete Dominguero. Bill Esparza. And of course, Jaime Hari. Thank you very much. And so following this photo, we will go ahead and unveil the artwork for this month.
Go ahead.
Mr. President, amending motions for items 2, 23, 24, and the substitute motion for item 47 have been posted, circulated, and is before council.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. City Attorney.
Just for the record, the motions for 23 and 24 and 47 as well are technical minor clarifications. They're not substantial, and they don't require public comment to be reopened.
Okay, let's vote quickly on 23, 24. If you would please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Thank you. Mr. O'Farrell, you want to slip in for your announcement here?
Yes, Mr. President, we're talking about item 34.
Yes,
correct?
item 34.
Yes,
Go ahead.
yes. Yeah, colleagues, item 34 is a motion that will take a significant step forward in addressing the crises of the day, and that is our homelessness crises. We have moved through committee, thanks to Mr. Harris Dawson and Mr. Krikorian, another bridge home project that will house 70 individuals for up to 3 years in Hollywood.
Great job.
On city-owned lots 649 North Schrader. And it's, as I mentioned, it's part of the Bridge Home program. You know, our most recent and accurate numbers for the homeless count were 31,516 individuals on any given day sleeping on our streets in Los Angeles. Although that number reflects a 10% drop in my district on homelessness, we are still the district in third in terms of the highest number of homelessness per council districts, with a large congregation of homeless individuals in Hollywood historically, and that is the case now. I want to just, again, thank all of you and thank Mr. Krikorian and Mr. Harris Dawson for moving this through their committee. And I think it's really important that we take a moment every time we do one of these bridge housing projects. I know it's going to be the second one in the city, and I know that many others are on the way. But we need to celebrate these actions. What we do today will enable us to open this bridge housing by January. So in a few short months, we will have permanent supportive services on site with 24-hour security, and the services and the attention that are most vulnerable in Los Angeles need and deserve. And I want to thank the team of collaborators that made this happen. I want to first thank our Mayor Garcetti and staff on his behalf, Matt Szabo, Brian Buchner, and Christina Miller. From Supervisor Sheila Kuehl's staff, Molly Reisman, Fernando Morales. From our own CAO staff, Yolanda Chavez, Meg Barclay, Roha Alzamer. Our Bureau of Engineering, we have Alan Kawaguchi, Marina Quinones, Maria Martin. Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, April Brody, Nathaniel Vergao, Victor Hinderleder, and Jeff Proctor. Our own Los Angeles Police Department HOPE team, our Los Angeles Police Department Hollywood Division and LAPD Hollywood Core team, United Way of Greater Los Angeles, People Assisting the Homeless, PATH, who is the recommended operator for this facility, the Center at Blessed Sacrament, which is another recommended operator, and they are next door to this location. I want to thank the Hollywood Forward Coalition. I want to thank the Central Hollywood Neighborhood Council, especially leader Ferris Webby, who was behind this all the way, our Hollywood Studio District Neighborhood Council, our Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, represented by Nicole Shahinian. I want to thank the Hollywood YMCA because this is right next door to the YMCA in Hollywood, and they're our partners in this as well. I want to thank the Hollywood Property Owners Alliance and Carrie Morrison, who is well known for her leadership on our homelessness. And more than anyone else, I want to thank Dan Halden from my staff. Dan, would you step forward? Thank you, Dan. Now, when we do these projects, we know that we catch criticisms from all sides at times. We weren't without criticism on this side either. But what we did, we built a strong coalition months in advance. We had a town hall that I attended to, an open house, and I stood there for 2 hours answering any question that anyone had. I challenged people who came to me and said, no way will we support this, not in my backyard. We explained the benefits of housing the most vulnerable and conveying that we all are vested in the success of this program. And our commitment is that this bridge housing program at Schrader, helping 70 people at a time, is something that must be successful and something that can be repeated across the city, and quite frankly, must be repeated across the whole entire city. Lastly, I will say this. It is on a city-owned surface parking lot. Today, I'm dropping another motion to do an RFP for permanent supportive housing at that very location so that we can then house people permanently in the hundreds. And we need to replicate this across the city as well. So I'm very excited to move forward concurrently with a permanent supportive housing there while we have bridge housing at the same time. So colleagues, what I ask of you is that you move the budget and finance report and approve, and then receive and file the Homelessness and Poverty Committee report in support of this bridge housing in the 13th District. Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Okay. Let us prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Mr. Bonin, the floor is yours.
You bet, you bet, you bet. Crap, out of the way. Thank you, Mr. President. Before I start, thank you, Mr. O'Farrell, for your work on the bridge housing in Hollywood and for leading. So, colleagues, today I am very happy, very proud, very excited to be acknowledging LMU Day, Loyola Marymount University Day, here in the city of Los Angeles. As you have heard me say in the past, every year it's a ritual in this chamber for the rivalry between UCLA and USC to be fought out. There are years when there have been footballs tossed back and forth. There's been trash talk between the two universities. Which is a lot of fighting over figuring out who is the second best university in the city of Los Angeles. Because we know that the number one is LMU. So I'm joined here today by lots of LMU faculty, lots of LMU alumni, many of whom are familiar faces to you, by LMU President Tim Snyder, and where is Iggy? Oh, there we go. Iggy the Bear. Lion, sorry. Clearly I'm not an LMU graduate.
You were lying, actually.
I'm not smart enough. LMU has been around since 1911. And its stated mission is the encouragement of learning, the education of the whole person, and the service of faith and the promotion of justice. And that is a mantra and a motto and a mission statement that they live up to every day in a variety of different ways. This school is acknowledged as a leader and as a success in countless different ways. If you look at how it's ranked on any number of different criteria, you keep seeing them up at the top. They are one of the best schools in the country for veterans. They are one of the best schools in the country for its film and television program. They are one of the best schools in the country, acknowledged for their great record in promoting the success of the Latina and Latino community. They are applauded nationally for their record on diversity. They are acknowledged as one of the best schools in producing Fulbright scholars, as one of the best Catholic colleges in the country, as one of the colleges with the best record and commitment to community service by its students. They have been acknowledged by the Sierra Club as one of the top 20 cool schools in the country for their incredible record on sustainability and on the environment. And probably the most important distinction they have is they have been ranked as the #1 best beach college in the country. LMU offers 58 major and 53 minor undergraduate degrees and 48 master's degrees and some additional advanced degrees on top of that. They are known for all sorts of alumni, some of which you know, many of which you know. From television, Mr. Koretz, who's a big fan of sitcoms, will remember Bob Denver and his co-star Dwayne Hickman, both of whom worked with Supervisor Sheila Kuehl on The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. Exceptional, outstanding people in law and in politics, former Congressman Tony Coelho, former noted attorney Johnny Cochran, people who are famous in arts and literature, the author Lisa Lee, Effie Brown, from the producer of Real Women Have Curves, freedom rider Helen Singleton, people you see around this building. John Gregory on my staff, who was an intern in my office from LMU. Mr. Galprin's former chief of staff, Jennifer Rivera. We have Eric Martel from the port, Lisa Marroquin from the mayor's office. We have folks all over this place. We have notable alumni. David Herbst is here. We have notorious alumni. Ruben Gonzalez is here. And this is just a remarkable school. And I'm fortunate to have two of their campuses in my district, their main campus in Westchester, the historic one, and their newest campus down at Playa Vista, their new Silicon Beach campus, where they're doing exciting things and they're branching out into the new economy here in Los Angeles. As I said, this is a school that focuses on diversity, and they have been acknowledged nationwide for that. Their class of 2022 is the most diverse and accomplished in LMU history. 91% of LMU Latino undergraduates received some form of financial aid last year, and LMU offers a 2-to-1 match for need-based Latino alumni scholarships, which have yielded a total award in excess of $6 million to date. This is a school that leads and fights in the battle for social justice. They host the Sport at the Service of Humanity annual conference, which is focused on the power of sports in catalyzing social change. They work very closely in that regard with LA 84, which is led by an LMU alumna, Renata Simrel, who we all know. Their Center for Service and Action partners with students, with faculty, and with community agencies so that students engage and learn through reflection on the root causes of these issues and move towards social justice, to work with these marginalized
Can we keep
communities
it down, please?
to create a more just world. Students on this campus volunteer 200,000 hours a year for community service with 250 different organizations. This is a school that works very hard on creativity and imagination and connecting to Los Angeles. We're all familiar with the great work of Dr. Fernando Guerra and his Center for the Study of Los Angeles, which does some incredible analysis of the trends and the dynamics in Los Angeles and the changes in this city. Last week, very proud that LMU and its new campus in Playa Vista played host to the T3 State of Technology Talent Today conference, which was co-produced by the Mayor's Office, the LA Area Chamber of Commerce, and the Vixel Exchange, which is organized by the smartest and most handsome member of my family. And that's my husband, by the way. And also really want to give an acknowledgement to the great work of the LMU family of schools, which is a partnership between this incredible university and 8 public schools and 2 charter schools and 4 Catholic schools in the Westchester Playa community. This is a beautiful campus led by amazing people with an incredible student body that doesn't just sit in the middle of my district, but integrates with it and serves it and helps lead it and helps make Los Angeles excel. And I'm very glad today to be acknowledging LMU Day here at Los Angeles City Council. And so let me introduce to you, before I present the certificate, President of the university, Tim Snyder.
Thank you, Councilmember Bonin. Good morning. Buenos dias, Mayor Garcetti, Council President Wesson, City Council, LMU and LA Day Steering Committee members, LMU Chancellor Reverend Robert Walsh, Society of Jesus, LMU Regents David Herbst, A.G. Kading, I think Neil Levesque is here. We have quite a few. And also Vice President Corolla, Vice President Sebastian, Professor Guerra, LMU cheerleaders, and our friend Iggy. I thank the Los Angeles Council for this honor and this day. Though today is officially LMU in LA Day, we should know that every moment of every day is one in which LMU seeks to serve our city. We are founded in diversity. We see diversity as the font of creativity, the kind of creativity that will create a better world for those here, for those to come, and for the earth itself. This is indeed a global city where cultures, ideas, innovations, and breakthroughs collide and compete, and the creations coming from Angelinos, from Angeleones, that would be Angelions, excel through our grit and through our collaboration. Our work, this council, and our scholars and our teachers share a common theme, and that is all we do. When we wake up in the morning, we do with purpose. We do it for the better. And this is why being with President Wesson, with Councilmember Bonin, Councilmember Cedillo, and all of you is so important to us. We share that common bond, and we thank you for this opportunity. As Councilmember Bonin mentioned, we just opened our third campus. We also have the Loyola Law School, proximal to where we are now, and that's our Playa Vista campus, and this is where we seek to ignite imagination. I think this city knows better than any that the future of humankind rests on our imagination and what we can do with it in creating a better world. We are indeed powered by social justice. An addendum to Councilmember Bonin's remarks, we're now up to actually 300,000 service hours from our students to our community annually. We indeed are powered by our education of all our institutions, particularly our School of Education, which features one of the strongest partnerships with Teach for America. We have 800 people on the ground in our city now involved with that program. We also seek to serve the homeless. We have classes dedicated to considering the plight of the homeless. For whatever reasons they end up where they are, we seek to serve them and assist them in coming to the table of larger society to live the lives for which they were intended and are intended. Earlier this year, the City of LA awarded us with the Platinum Recycle LA Star, and this was for our sustainability prowess. We finished #1 in the nation in the
That's
Recycle
worth a round of applause.
Mania competition. So I thank our LMU and I almost said LMU and LMU Day. It's LMU and LA Day Committee, chaired by Catherine Hennigan Ohanesian. We also have committee members with us today. We thank them for making this opportunity possible for us. A round of applause for them, please. We thank our alum, Renata Simril, who was a transfer student to LMU, and we are accelerating our efforts to bring more transfer students in, particularly from our community colleges. We have partnered with LACCD in a landmark partnership because we know that that is the pathway to great educations that will be better accelerated in our future. These are some of the most persistent students, and they are exemplars of what higher education can bring to society. We are very proud of them. And we are also proud, and I'll close by mentioning our Board of Regents chair and LMU alumna, Maria Salinas, who recently became the first Latina and the first woman to lead the LA Area Chamber of Commerce. We are so proud of Maria's achievement, and we thank her. When you think of LMU, think of creating the world in which we want to live. We saturate every day with passion to create the world in which we want to live. We thank the LA City Council, we thank Councilman Bonin, and we thank each of you for acknowledging us today and for partnering with us as we go forward. We do this with care, we do it with the same passion you have, and we do it with love. Thanks for all you have done for us and with us, and thank you for today.
Mr. President, we want to thank you and all of the folk from LMU for all that they do for the city of Los Angeles and the region. And I just have to say that's a really good-looking group that you brought down here with you today. Give yourselves a round of applause. Do that. There, Mr. Bonin, you can see they're well-dressed, and either they're clean-shaven or they have these really tight little beards. Everybody except Ruben over there. Ruben, I just want you to know. Anyway, let's give them one more round of applause. Great school, great job. Thank you for everything. Oh, Mr. Kretz, I didn't say, I'm sorry, Mr. Kretz.
Oh, I just wanted to congratulate you as well. Although I'm a UCLA grad, I don't begrudge the fact that LMU is a great school and honors the city with its terrific programs. I also want to recognize the fact that I have had some great LMU grads on my staff, but most notably Kate Hennigan. So congratulations for being here. And while I'm at it, I did want to ask if your mascot is here to speak on the fur ban. So if he is, he could stick around. Oh, well, I tried.
All right, again, congratulations and welcome to City Hall.
Mr. President, there is a request to send item 23 and 24 forthwith, sir.
So ordered. Okay, I'm going to call on Mr. Blumenfield. Why don't we take up item 35?
Great.
Let's kind of let the crowd, the folk go in the back, and then the floor will be yours.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Take it from you. You're the leader. You're speaking first. I don't give a shit. It'll be
It's now. It's now.
Mr. Blumenfield.
Great. Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, today we have a chance to make history. Earlier this morning on the First Street steps, I was outside joined by my colleague, Mr. Koretz, as well as more than 50 supporters, including celebrities such as Maggie Q, Joanna Krupa, Jessica Miller, Cornelia Guest, J.D. Nicole, and Tony Kanal, for a press conference rally, because we wanted to make sure that everyone knows that LA can and should be the largest city in America to take a stance against the inhumane and appalling treatment of animals. How are we going to take that stand? We're going to take it by outlawing the sale and manufacture of new fur in the city of Los Angeles. These sentient beings are bred and raised literally for the skin off their backs, and it's just plain wrong. It's 2018, and we must step up and stop this cruel practice. Some methods include the removal while the animals are still alive to preserve their pelt. Can you imagine how that torture must feel to the dogs, raccoons, foxes, rabbits, mink, and more? Gandhi said, the greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. Now, this has gained a lot of momentum. More than 80,000 people signed the Change.org petition to support this legislation here in the chambers today. That's more people than swung the presidential election in 2016. It's basically enough people to fill up the LA Coliseum. And we have a great alternative. Faux fur is a humane alternative. There is no reason to wear fur in 2018. Certainly not in sunny Los Angeles. You don't need it to make a fashion statement. And I know, folks, you may not take it from me. Nobody's accused me of being a fashion icon. But listen to some of the fashion icons: Michael Kors, Jimmy Choo, Versace, Gucci, and most recently Burberry. They've all made commitments to remove fur from their line of products because they know it is wrong. Yes. More than 50 million animals are killed for their fur every year. Animals who are cultivated solely for their fur. They often spend their entire lives living in these cramped cages subject to deplorable conditions. Common practices include gassing, electrocution, suffocation, neck breaking. Electrocuting fur-bearing animals anally and genitally is a slaughter method that is used in the industry to limit the damage to the fur, and it's used all the time. Be grateful to our council president because he wouldn't let me show you the undercover video of these horrendous practices. Now, currently there are some cities, some smaller cities, West Hollywood, Berkeley, San Francisco, that have adopted similar bans. And that's great that they've taken action. But when LA takes this action, when the city of Los Angeles, the second largest city in the nation, takes this action, it will reverberate throughout this country, and I'd say throughout this world. Los Angeles will speak, and we will speak loudly. Now, I know what some of the opponents are going to say. They're going to say, what about eating meat? Or aren't your shoes made out of leather? Or that kind of thing. Well, let me just shoot down those tired old arguments right now, once and for all. Okay, leather and lambskin are byproducts of animals. They're not being banned today. And as far as eating meat, well, that's a debate that's gone on for centuries. But unlike eating, there is no necessity to wear fur. There simply isn't. So let's show that we are a responsible governing body and end this outdated and deplorable practice. Its time has come. And this will not take effect for 2 years after the passage of this ordinance. That's going to give the very few stores that are in operation within our city limits plenty of time to sell their inventory and make the responsible switch to faux fur. Now, speaking of supporters, I want to specifically mention and thank Mark Ching and Veronica Raffkind of the Animal Hope and Wellness Foundation, Matt Russell of the Rescue and Freedom Foundation, and Sharice Shankar, all for their support in this effort. And also, there are so many folks here. In fact, I'd like to ask all the supporters to take a moment and stand up and show yourselves being supportive of this important movement. Thank you for showing up. Colleagues, I urge your aye vote. Let's make history. Thank you.
Mr. Koretz. Mr. Koretz.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to my colleague Bob Blumenfield for leading on this issue. It's time we end a truly inhumane process. There are people in the fur industry that say it's humane, that they've cleaned up their process, and I would say there is some in the fur process that are absolutely disgusting and reprehensible, and some that are just inhumane. I'd say the Chinese fur industry is the most disgusting. We were not as kind to our colleagues on the Personnel and Animal Welfare Committee, so Mark Ching was allowed to show videos at 2 separate meetings, 2 different videos that will probably give me nightmares for the rest of my life, with animals screaming as they're being electrocuted in their genitals, and some not killed by it, and then they skin them alive. It's just so disgusting, I don't believe that people can even envision it. But take my word for it, if there's anyone thinking about voting against this, if you saw that video, you would never give it another thought. There are some places where they're less inhumane, but there's nothing humane about raising an animal in terrible conditions just to kill it for vanity, and a completely unnecessary vanity. Now, my mother died in 1980, and one of the things I'll always remember from that is I inherited a fur, which I can tell you I didn't keep for very long. But I was always thinking after that, at some point there had to be a ban on fur. And I've done a lot of animal issues, so I deal with them one step at a time. But I think a fur ban is an issue whose time has definitely come, is definitely overdue. We have to do it today, and I think we will set an example for the rest of the country and the rest of the world. And hopefully it won't be long before nobody kills and raises animals in horrible conditions just for fur. Now, people thought it couldn't be done, and they said LA couldn't do some other things we did, like banning bullhooks, which ultimately led to Ringling Brothers shutting down, and banning puppy mills, which is being slowly replicated across the country, banning cat declawing, and now a ban on fur. I think we're taking just one more step, hopefully, to becoming the most humane city in the country. And hopefully, Chicago and New York and other big cities will see what we're doing and follow our lead, and pretty soon there will be no big cities in which you can buy a fur coat anywhere in the country. Now, I've got to ask that we vote on one very minor amendment because it was spotted that the lack of a comma could give a slightly different meaning to one section of this. So in the first section, I'd like to add, after the words, with exceptions for the sale of used fur products, a comma. Thank you. And with that change, let us pass this very historic measure and put ourselves out in front in ending cruelty in the city of Los Angeles.
Mr. O'Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Bob. Thank you, Paul. And let's add animal snares to another cruel practice that has been banned in the city of Los Angeles, along with the bull hooks and the puppy mills. And, you know, cruelty and inhumane treatment is taught. It's acquired. It's unnatural. Look at any young person, and they abhor violence of any kind. It's time to break the chain of inhumane treatment for all animals. You know, there is no humane way to harvest fur from an animal. It's an impossibility. It's a myth, and we cannot stand idly by when we have an opportunity to do something about it. Those who are against this can rationalize cruelty all day long, but that's just what it is. You're rationalizing inhumane treatment and cruelty for the sake of vanity, and how disgusting is that? For decades, we've had the ability to acquire faux fur. It's 2018. This is not the 18th century, the 19th century. There is no reason anywhere to harvest fur and the unconscionable treatment of these sentient beings who feel pain, they feel emotion, and to think that we have an opportunity, I would argue that we have an obligation to legislate against cruelty every chance we get. So I want to thank all of the advocates for pushing this along, for always providing, I think, the very foundation of what it is to have a conscience amongst decision makers. You make the case better than any of us could. The truth is the truth, and to be human and to aspire to be better, to be enlightened, to be fair and compassionate to all others should be our objective in life. And I'm very proud to stand with you in supporting this ban, and I hope we have a unanimous vote to ban fur in the city of Los Angeles. Thank you.
Okay, please. All right. Let's see if we get a unanimous vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay. All right, guys. Okay. Now you're disrupted. Can we? Shh. I know you're excited. We are too, but we got more work to do. Thank you all for coming. You played an invaluable role in making sure that this occurred. So anyway, thank you for coming. Okay, members, let's prepare to move forward. Okay, let's start off with Mr. Previn. Please come forward. Items 9, 37, 40, 43, 45, and 46. Mr. Previn, please come down.
Thank you, sir. It's Eric Previn from Studio City, and I'm on the Neighborhood Council in Studio City, but I'm speaking today on behalf of myself. Sir, the city's budget is comprised of an appropriation limit in part, and today we are setting that limit.
Hold tight, Mr. Previn.
Yeah.
Hold his time. Okay, guys, when you leave, could you please leave quietly? We have other business that we have to take care of, and we have to be fair to the other people as well.
Exactly, and for the record, these
Go
are
ahead,
not,
go
they're
ahead,
not
Mr. Previn.
They're not disrupting the meeting.
Mr.
These are-
Previn, you
they're
want to
not.
stay on the item?
But
Go
you agree
ahead.
that they're not disrupting the meeting?
Mr. Previn, you want to stay on the item?
Okay, but they were yelling in the hallway, but they were not disrupting the meeting.
Mr. Previn,
I just want that
would
clear.
you want to stay on the item?
Yes, but I don't want them
no,
banned
okay,
from
Mr.
future
Previn,
meetings. Okay, fine.
Mr. Previn.
Fair enough, but I just want to make
No, okay, give Mr. Previn his. No, in fact, Mr. Previn, Mr. Previn, just stay on the item.
Violate anybody today, sir.
Just stay on the item.
I agree. I'm trying to stay on the item. So look, I have been an advocate for bridge housing, and I know this body has been trying diligently, and I certainly appreciate it. We all agreed at 1.3 million we would set up in various places, and we are making diligent work at that. I'm pleased to report that, sir, and I'm excited. And I saw that Mr. O'Farrell stood up and thanked all the appropriate people. I want to lend my support, but I have to raise.
So we've already voted at that item. It's not on the.
What item? I haven't mentioned an item.
Well, it certainly seems that you were on item 34, for which we've already held a public hearing and voted.
Right, but you substituted the motion, sir. Do you want to argue about it, or you want to violate the law? I say we just let me make my comment because it's on today's agenda. It was on yesterday's agenda. At the crack of dawn, it was a substitute motion. And it was some funding details that changed, and we want to make sure the state money gets. But here's my point, and I'll be brief because I've got a lot of things. This has been very hard for those of us who came to speak on items because though we love presentations, let me get to it.
So
that
Mr.
$750,000
Previn,
of the $3 million is going to city departments.
So, Mr.
That's
Previn,
a little
it
disturbing.
certainly seems that you are not on one of the agenda items you signed up for. Please get on one of them.
Mr. Previn, just get on
right.
the item so we don't. You're squandering your time.
File whatever the appropriate. I don't think that's necessary because the remedy is let me finish my comment. Blumenfield
Okay,
brought
let's
it
give
up.
him his 1 minute for general public comment.
It's very hard to try to maintain, a sense of normalcy in this environment, but I'm trying. And what I would like to say is that you've scheduled a Rules Committee meeting in the morning on Friday, but then it's going to be at 8:30. It's a special meeting, and I want Angelenos to check that agenda for the Rules Committee at the City Hall, City Clerk's office, because what's on it is a great thing. It's a campaign finance reform motion, and they want to increase the matching funds so that candidates can get money. But there's also some proposals coming through, one from me and our group, that says waive the threshold because people who can't get to 25 grand. It's hard to chase a guy like O'Farrell in his district and raise money because they all know that O'Farrell's a retaliator. So they don't want to give. So let's just give some of the matching fund money, which is there's 16.1 million in the bank, to the littler candidates right out the gate, kind of in recognition of their 500 signatures, Bonin. You know how hard it is to get 500 in-district signatures. It's hard. And the clerk does the work because they do a great job.
Thank
so
you.
approve that, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. So I have items 51A and D for Mr. Is Zumadog still here? General public comment. And item 9, I'm told.
All right, regarding general public comment, my name's Zumadog.
No, we'll go first, Mr. Do the items. So give him his time.
Do the items
for
first?
The items. And then
51 and what else? Repeat them.
You got 3, Sharon. Give him 3 minutes. You've got 9, 51A, and D.
Okay. Let's see, for number 9, Budget and Finance Committee, for the appropriation. Yeah, okay, it says here that the population percent change 0.82%. If you're doing anything budget related and thinking the population increase in LA has only been 0.8, open up your fucking eyes. Are you kidding me? We got open borders. We're flying in refugees from all over the world. We got Airbnb everywhere. You're building skyscrapers in every nook and cranny of the city. I can't even walk down the street without a rush of crowds of people. You got way more than 0.8% 28% increase. All right, now I don't know why you want to fudge this number lower to make it seem like the city isn't bursting at the seams from refugees and illegal immigrants and the whole world flying here, and they're all staying in Airbnb, they're all riding an Uber, and they're all staying on the streets. You know, the 0.8%, we got a 30-40% increase in the homeless on the streets alone. Okay? So whatever the budget is for the amount of people here, quintuple it, because everybody knows this city is now an unlivable mess. The 15 of you fuckers fuck this city for the rest of history, and you're all stuck in it. What the fuck is wrong with you people? You're just big greedy whores that's going to whore out this city until there's not even any oxygen left. You all deserve to be strung up and hung by the rafters, okay? In the old days, they had public stonings.
Let's get
If
back
people
on
like
topic,
you, if
Mr.
people
Dog.
like you, what?
Let's get back on topic.
Okay, get back on topic. Is I want you to stop doing this shit that you're doing on this agenda item. Because in the old days, when people did the stuff that you people do to we the people of the community, it ended in stonings, public stonings. Okay? Now, I'll move to the next item, track map, because you got more track map. That's an approval for more housing. Let me just be clear about this. Stop building fucking giant skyscrapers. Hey, Mike Bonham, wake up. Have you gone to Marina Del Rey? Jesus Christ, I'm serious. This is an alert for the people watching. This is the most corrupt body of fucking shady law-breaking assholes. And when you see them on the streets, I think you should do what Maxine Waters does. Get a crowd, surround these people. Tell them you demand that they fucking step down because they're destroying the fabric and character of this city forever. Look around, you're stuck in, look at the homeless crisis. And here, the final, you are never going to solve this homeless crisis. Do not expect anything but a geometric increase. Because you got 15 dead at the wheel, irresponsible, fucking corrupt motherfucking assholes. And you're all burning in hell. And I hope it's not too long from now. Okay? I hope you're all surrounded. And I hope that you're not around long to finish your terms.
Thank you, Mr. Dog. Thank you. Okay, give him his minute.
Yes, my name's Zuma Dog, and in 2013, I won a federal ruling from Judge Dean Pragerson regarding code of conduct, public comment in these chambers. You lost. You were found to be censoring, breaking the law, sending a chilling effect while you destroyed the city. So here you are now, ready to pass a law to ban free speech. Just so you know, where's my hat? Can you bring me my hat? Just so you know, you're not allowed to ban public comments in the future. Here, right here, kryptonite. Kryptonite. Let me remind you what country you're in. I know it feels like Mexico when you come in here, but we got the Constitution. So here's the thing. I warned Herb. I warned you for years. Herb, I'm talking to you, punk-ass little bitch. I warned you for years. If you didn't settle, that you're going to have an anything-goes shit situation here. All right? You dragged me through years. You spend millions. So now you're going to live with this shit. And if you pass the motion, I'm going to fucking take you to court again and beat your ass good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now, Mr. Dog, just find a seat. All right, let's bring up, I think this is Mr. Spindler. Items 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 51, and general public comment. Come on, Mr. Spindler.
Not much to say after that, God damn. I'll tell you. Oh, yes, for the record, they're still yelling outside. Mr. Fauble, that's supposed to be your part. You're the puppet that's supposed to say that.
Please move on
You're
to one of
supposed
these.
to stay on the item.
Just testing jerk off.
Stay
Okay.
on the item.
Now, we get, let's see here, CD11, world airports. There is no airport. There is no worlds. LAX is what it's called. It's a piece of fucking shit. I wouldn't send a fucking dog there for a plane ride. Then you get to number 2, of course, Tefra, CD10. Well, Herb Wesson gets 6%.
Item 3, Mr. You don't have to.
But what about the Teflon dose?
No,
The
stay on
item
the.
is continued, Mr. Spindler.
Oh, okay, that's a shame. Mr. Wesson get 8%
No,
of that.
Mr. Spindler, do you want to
Yeah.
speak on your items?
Yeah, anyway, we get, let's see, number 3, to quote one of our great speakers here, I'm against. And then we get, let's see here, number 5, CD1. Well, even though he signed that evil motion, I'm going to still support it. I support the peace treaty with CD1. I hope we get back on track. CD2, number 6, against, of course, because anything Paul Krikorian does is a human disease. Then number 8, CD2, of course, deny it. Chandler Boulevard does not need more street lights. If those rich white motherfuckers want street lights, let them pay for their own goddamn street lights, okay? What's a home cost there now? $9 million minimum? Now, I don't know. There were so many presentations today. You get, let's see, in CD11, again, Stoner in Iowa. You think they can afford street lights? Of course. Fuck them. Number 12, Sherman Way, Woodlake. That's the edge of the ghetto. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let me ask Jose Weezer, should we support number 37?
No, senor.
Okay, we're against number 12. 38, again, we will CD1. We'll support the peace treaty. We'll defer to Mr. Cedillo. Number 39, CD5. After all that, we'll support it because, you know what, he bought me a yogurt last week. It was a nice thing, so thank you. Remember, when you feed your enemy, they get less hostile. Now, 42, of course, again, the peace treaty will continue. We'll defer to Mr. Cedillo, a.k.a. Mr. Cedillo. And then the rest of the items, we don't have time. Fuck you.
Okay, let's give him his 1 minute
right.
for general.
So we had a little problem, and again, thank you for starting my time early and stealing more seconds of my precious time. Where's my band? How come you didn't do your band? 6 of you guys signed my band. Where's my band? Huh? You couldn't get an attorney in California to sign off on that goddamn thing, Herb. It can't fucking be signed because nobody wants to get this barred, so they don't want to sign it. And Stephen Rhodey said, no. And Zuma Dog said, hootie, oh. And then I said, yes. Check number 50. I support that goddamn motion. I believe in that motion. I believe you should kick out people because the reason why is I'm going to become your new leader. After we get rid of the First Amendment, I'm going to become the new Hitler of America. Support the band.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Okay, now I want Mr. Herman. Item 6, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. 41, 42, 42 through 49, and then 51. So go ahead, Ms. Herman.
So in CD6, final maps, Wakerfield, you should just name it Wackofield after Ms. Martinez on item 48. Relative funding to Sherman Way Tunnel. The only tunnel you can tunnel is through your big fat ass through Council District 6 for $32,140 of general city purpose fucking funds. And then what about the sellout, Cedillo and Rodriguez? What have they done on 49 North Spring Street Viaduct? That fucking bridge is a bridge to hell. It goes nowhere other than east and west to show the world we are the capital of housing fucking homeless people. Then you go to item 50, motion of Wesson and that fucking wetback relative to adopting changes to the rules. Oh, I'm sorry, that one's deferred. Stay on topic. Then you go into the other lengthy fucking criteria of this agenda that's so fat like some of you fat fucking politicians.
Now you're off topic. Get back on topic.
Of lighting on ordinance in CD 12. Well, why the fuck do those white people need more lighting when we need it in South LA? We need it in Skid Row. We need fucking lighting that reflects how politicians fuck up your community under Butte Street lighting services. Then I go into the other criteria on item 1, meaning that the report in CD 11, where that fucking Chongo uses the Los
No, you don't
Angeles
have
World
item
Airports.
1. Mr. Herman, go to item 6. You don't have 1. No, you put them down. I told them to you.
Why do you call me out of order when I'm on the right subject? I filled out a card on every fucking items that way I do in every fucking meeting.
Mr. Herman, get on the topic, please.
All right, let me calm down. For your information, ladies and gentlemen, public safety has always been my concern. You see, we try not to escalate the intensifiers due to the benefit of the Los Angeles Police Department. After all, their physical impact statement, which none was submitted, authorizes them to use excessive force.
So, Mr.
And then on
Mr.
personal
Herman,
animal
I don't think you're an agenda item that you signed up for.
Let's give him his 1 minute for general. Let's give him his 1 minute for general public comment. Now you can say what you want, Mr. Herman.
What's that?
Now you can say what you want. Start his minute.
All right. As a proud
Start his
community
minute, Sharon.
member and advocate, I urge you to find a remedy to solving item 50 and reduce the threats and intimidation and more so all this retaliation brought by you by this fucking city of a hostile environment. If you feel your child's in a hostile environment, ask this fucking city to provide you child care so you can come here and deal with real fucking business. The way real adults talk behind closed doors, you stupid cunt motherfuckers. That's the reason why I'm so upset. You try to suppress me and take from my thoughts my protected speech under the Constitution and my Bill of Rights to say to that fucking wetback in that white suit ranchero there, fuck Zacatecas and
Thank
fuck
you.
these-
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Please take a seat. Okay, now let's vote on items 3 through 9. Please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
Okay, now we'll go items 36 through 46. Please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
Now we'll go to items 48 through 51. Please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
Okay. So now I'm going to go back to Mr. City Attorney and Clerk. That closes multi-comment. Now
yes,
I'm going to
Mr.
go back to general comment. I think, well, here, Mr. Gus, I was going to call you on general comment. I don't have you for items. I think the other items you signed up for, we had already addressed in general public comment.
The system is wrong, but okay.
Well, why don't you tell me what other 2 items?
I don't have the agenda, Herb. Stop playing games.
No,
I'll speak on
anyway.
general comment because
Then give him
you try to take away my press pass, and I'm going to sue your ass over that, right? So you'll be sued over that, just like you're trying to stop my comments today on agenda items. Council members, you made some major mistakes in the motion for item 50 today. You declared disruptive language at this meeting and your committee meetings, but you didn't declare them disruptive at boards and panels. That's what they're going to sue you over. You declared language disruptive here, but not at other meetings. That's what they're going to sue you over. Check out my City Watch column today and last week. And then Sharon So, your chief legislative analyst, who does not have a law degree in California or a law license, she said city council can take away rights? No. You can take away privileges. This isn't a privilege. This podium here is a right. And your CLA put in your memo that you can take away rights. You're going to get sued and you're going to lose. You're going to lose.
Thank you, Mr. Gus. Do we have a Michelle Walker, a Carlos Lara, Adam Smith?
Mr. President, for the record, the ordinances will be carried over 1 week to September 25th, sir.
Fine. Okay, Rob, are you still here? Rob, Mr. Spindler, nobody's talking to you. You're disrupting. Please, let me give other people the right to speak. Rob Kwan, Patty Sinker. Do we have Katerina? Do we have, okay. Okay, please, ma'am, identify yourself. Yes.
Yes, I'm Michelle Hope Walker. Oh, my time started. Okay, so key thing is the Los Angeles Fire Department, discrimination, and they need diversity training. It's been a couple times, I know I've called and I've seen other people, and they discriminate. Sort of like what we've seen where the black woman died because in the hands of paramedics, they made decisions that were not correct. We have the same thing, the mistreatment of black women. And thank God, again, congratulations to Latino Hispanic Month. Also good for the dogs, but also black women. Black women get discriminated in the city of Los Angeles very often. Blacks and the poor, and especially when it comes to health. So you got the paramedics that are making major decisions at the very beginning, and people are dying in their hands, and they're being mistreated. So again, Los Angeles Fire Department, the ambulance, the paramedics, if you please can do diversity training and tell them to respect and treat people right so they don't die. Michelle Hope Walker.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Identify yourself, please.
Yes, good morning, council members, and Lashana Tova to those who are of the Jewish faith. My name is Patty Schenker, and I want to talk to you about the LA Zoo and Billy for a moment. I need to remind you that elephants die on average 10 years younger at the LA Zoo than at any other North American zoo. So time is of the essence for poor Billy. Also, I don't see why their exhibit can't have some mud piles and perhaps some tires to play with. I visited the zoo recently and was appalled at what the zoo calls education about elephants. The LA Zoo is actually supporting and promoting elephant abuse by promoting employment for working elephants in Asia. All working elephants, whether used for riding, begging, painting, massaging, logging, or performing, are subjected to the crush box or the pajan. The babies are, can I have just another minute?
No, ma'am, sorry. Next speaker. Miss Yvonne Autry could come down. Do we have somebody named Roberts? Please come down. And ma'am, and your name? Come on. You can come after her, but I need to know your name. Yes, Miss Autry.
Yes, I said, this is a culture of abuse. If it's not animals, it's women, it's poor people, pedophiles abusing little boys. This is ridiculous, and the sacrificial ritual. So again, this was 1 minute. I requested numerous items. So what I'm saying is I have been a victim of the electronic weapon. Isaac Shomoff, I believe, has hired or sold the poor residents of his buildings out for experimentation. I now have proof. I know the electronic weapon is being used to debilitate us and cause disabling problems with the spine, the brain, causing heart attacks and strokes. I'm sprayed. I now have proof. You can't say I'm crazy, 5150, or bipolar. I wake up with needle marks in my back, and I know they're using hypnosis as well as Demerol or transdermal Seconal to put me under for these CIA sex torture chambers. So this has got to stop. Any exploitation, women, animals.
Thank you. Miss, come on up and identify yourself. Miss Autry, your time is up. No, Miss Autry, your time is up. Ma'am, you signed up to speak, please. Sergeants, help her find a seat. Yes, ma'am, in the white. Miss, come on. Please come and identify yourself.
My name is Miss Roberts, and I'm here to speak about the alley pavement that needs resurfacing and repaving, 3800 block of Potomac Avenue. It's over 60 years old. The asphalt is crumbling. There are 2 humps of asphalt that was put there by the city when we first requested it to be repaved. And we called and we talked to Mr. Salcido's office, and they said that there was no more funds left and that we would have to wait until money was available, and it was available in July, and I called and you were in recess. So we're asking that the funds that the city get this time for resurfacing alleys, that 3800 block Potomac Avenue, LA 90008, be considered, because we've been trying over 2 years.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, that, again, I'm Carlos, Adam. Okay, that concludes general public comment then. Where are we, Madam Clerk?
Council has item number 1 and 47.
Well, Miss Autry, please take a seat. Miss Autry, you're disrupting the meeting. Miss City Attorney, she's disrupting the meeting. Miss Autry, please sit down. Sergeants, I've warned her. Show her a seat outside. No, Miss Autry, you were given your time to speak. Okay. No, Miss Autry is continuing, Mr. Attorney, to disrupt the meeting.
Mr. President, council has item number.
Hang on one moment till the person, Miss Autry, is done disrupting the meeting. She's preventing us from doing our job.
Miss Autry, you're continuing to disrupt the meeting. You had your minute. We still have other work to do, ma'am. Get your belong. Miss Autry is continuing to disrupt the meeting. She is continuing to disrupt the meeting.
We're unable to continue our business because Miss Autry is shouting from the audience.
Miss Autry, you're disrupting the meeting. Miss Autry, you're disrupting the meeting. Okay.
And she's still doing it. It's going to be impossible to continue as long as she's shouting.
Okay, Miss Autry, go ahead. She is continuing to disrupt the meeting, and because of that, we are unable to conduct our business.
Correct. And she stopped moving out.
Go on, Miss Autry. Thank you for coming. No, Miss Autry is continuing to disrupt the meeting.
She is.
Sergeants, help her find the door.
Okay.
Okay, now it's my understanding that we have to adopt an ordinance approving a resolution of necessity and to authorize commencement of an eminent domain proceeding. So we will first hear an oral presentation from staff. So if I can get Marissa Kantnich to come forward, and then we'll take it from there. Welcome.
This item is a hearing to determine whether the council wishes to adopt an ordinance approving a resolution of necessity to authorize commencement of eminent domain proceedings to acquire portions of the property located at 9790 Belanca Avenue in Los Angeles, California. This ordinance does not address in any way the compensation to be paid for the taking of the property, nor does the adoption of this ordinance prevent the parties from continuing to negotiate. It is always possible that a settlement may be reached without trial or significant litigation over the acquisition, and that is always our hope. But in this case, for the reasons explained in the staff report and the presentation, We are asking that the council approve the ordinance so that staff may move forward with the next legal step in the condemnation process, which is the authorization to bring an eminent domain action to condemn portions of the property. At the close of this hearing, you will be asked to make a few key findings as described in the CAO report and the proposed ordinance. Adopting this ordinance requires an affirmative 2/3 vote of the council. The council file and the presentation you are about to hear will give you the facts necessary to support the necessary findings. The presentation, council file, and all its reference documents will become part of the record of these proceedings. If there are any additional exhibits or other information presented to the council this morning, they will be added to the record. If you have any questions about the facts, do not hesitate to ask the staff. If you have legal questions about the findings, please ask legal counsel. The first two findings, the public interest of necessity requiring the project and the project being planned or located for the greatest public good and the least private injury, are applicable to the entire project and not solely or even necessarily to the use of an eminent domain for the acquisition of portions of the specific property at issue here. The remaining findings, for example, that the property being acquired is necessary for the project, that an offer has been made to the owners of the property as required by law, and the requisite environmental reviews have been completed, apply to the specific property at issue here. While the CAO reports details much of what I'm about to discuss, I'd like to touch on a few items. The project requiring acquisition of the property is the Landside Access Modernization Program, or LAMP, in which the city will be constructing an automated people mover to provide passenger connections from a consolidated rental car facility and 2 new intermodal transit facilities to the Los Angeles International Airport Central Terminal area. Property acquisitions for LAMP are only pursued via eminent domain as a last resort after voluntary acquisition measures have been pursued and proven unsuccessful. Here, a written offer and accompanying appraisal summary was previously made to the property owners, and despite efforts to negotiate, no agreement for acquisition of the needed property rights could be reached. Notice of this hearing was sent by first-class mail to the property owners on August 30th. That concludes my presentation. I would like to take this opportunity to remind the council members that the adoption of the ordinance requires an affirmative 2/3 vote of the council.
Thank you so much for coming. Do we have any of the property owners? Mr. Spindler, Mr. Herman, please sit down. You're disrupting this meeting. The property owners are not here, or representative members. Any questions from the council? All right, then let's, Mr. Bonin, did you want to? Okay, Mr. Bonin moves. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote. Thank you for
10
coming.
ayes. For the record, the ordinance is carried over 1 week to September 25th.
Okay, it's my understanding we have item 47. It's a 2-vote item. Could you explain?
Mr. President, the substitute motion has been distributed and is before council. The first vote is to vote to substitute, sir.
Okay, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Now we'll vote on the substance. So let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That brings us where, Madam Clerk?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
They are posted, they are referred. Announcements, members, announcements. If all would please rise for adjourning motions. If all would please rise. I'm looking to my left side, Mr. Cedillo side. I recognize Mr. Cedillo.
Yes, Mr. President, I want to talk about a person who's beloved in our district, Uka Govabahai Solanki of San Marino, California, and Upleta, India. He passed away unexpectedly this Saturday, September 8th, at the age of 74. He had lived an extraordinary life. He was born in a rural community of Gujarat, India.
So I'm sorry,
Please,
but apparently Miss Audrey has come back in the room and is disrupting our meeting.
And if
during
we
the
could
adjourning
have
motions.
Sergeant just stay there so that it does not occur again. Mr. Cedillo, I do apologize.
I accept your, well, no apology necessary on your behalf, sir. This is wholly inappropriate that people would be disruptive during these moments. As I said, Mr. Solanki was born in a small rural city in the state of Gujarat, India, in 1944. During the creation, actually, of the Indian state, and he lived his young life there as an entrepreneur, working in businesses as diverse as sugarcane, livestock, cotton before attending the university and earning his bachelor's degree. Nearing graduation in India, he earned admission to USC and moved to Los Angeles in 1970 at the age of 26. As a young immigrant in the 1970s with only a few borrowed dollars, he struggled in those early years, often working 2 jobs while working on his degree. Uka and a partner bought a drive-through dairy in South Bay in 1973 as a means to support themselves and a path to citizenship. But it would also become the precursor to the founding of Big Saver Foods with his wife Nalini Solanki in 1976. And for over 42 years as the owner and the operator of Big Saver Foods, he employed hundreds of people, operated 15 locations, and gave back through a wide variety of charities to the communities that they served. For his pioneering work in the Hispanic markets, Uka earned Ernst & Young's Entrepreneur of the Year Award and Progressive Grocer's Grocer of the Year. Beyond his business success, Uka was perhaps most proud professionally of the Solanki Foundation, which provides support to numerous organizations in Southern California and his native India. Through the foundation, he has been an active supporter, board member, and volunteer to numerous organizations, including a medical camp that he helped found. Every January in his hometown, he provides free medical services to tens of thousands of recipients, a girls' school with 1,200 underprivileged girls each year, and a center at Cal State Long Beach, which hosts lectures and helps exchange students and numerous other organizations. He leaves behind so much more, but none more important to him than his family and friends. He is survived by his wife of 46 years, Nalani, daughter Jyoti Kali, son-in-law Luke, grandson John, and granddaughter Ara, daughter Pratima, daughter Kavita Huerta, son-in-law Jose, grandson Eric, granddaughter Sarah, and grandson Adam. Son Harish and son Dharam Dave. Uka also leaves behind older brother Jivaba and his sister-in-law Rubayam and sister-in-law Ugeben. Their children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. In addition, his old and new friends around the world will extend his legacy for years to come. He's also survived by so many dear friends around the world from all walks of life that he touched with his kindness and his generosity. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bonnet.
Mr. President, colleagues, I'd like to ask that we adjourn today in memory of my high school classmate, Larry Gilman, Jr., who passed away at age 51 a couple days ago after a very long and difficult battle with cancer. Larry grew up with me in Clinton, Massachusetts. We played football together in high school. He was significantly better at it than I was. He and I used to argue about politics a lot, and he used to challenge me to put my money where my mouth is. So after the Michigan primary in 1988, which Jesse Jackson had an upset win in, he challenged me to put my money where my mouth is, and I lost $100 betting that Jesse Jackson would win the Democratic nomination that year. I haven't bet much on my candidate since then. Larry was a great guy. He leaves his father, Larry Sr., who he lived with, his son Shane, an extended family, and a couple stepchildren. Really active in civic affairs in my hometown. He was a ranking member of the Elks Lodge, and he was just recently awarded last year the Shillelagh Award by the Clinton, Massachusetts Leprechaun Society. Great guy, taken way too young, and I'd like us to adjourn in his memory today. Thank you.
Now I'm looking to the right side. I don't see any adjourning motions on the right. Members, this council meeting is adjourned. See you Friday.
I'm not just an environmentalist at work, but I am an environmentalist at heart. 70% of the world's surface is covered by water. In order to see the world, you really have to be in the water. I was a scuba dive instructor and realized that I had a passion for the ocean and needed to work as a marine biologist. So when the position in water quality came up, I knew that was my job. As an environmental specialist at the Port of Los Angeles, I wear many hats. I primarily oversee stormwater quality. I am the sustainability